to be workers after they had apparently left a woman at a bus stop. So we're going to learn some information here from the hospital. You're watching live here on the News Now.
The University of Maryland Medical Center, which encompasses both the university campus and here at the Midtown campus. This is an incredibly difficult day for our organization. Yesterday was a difficult day, and I know tomorrow will be a difficult day. And what I cannot answer to our organization is when that will stop. But what I do know is that we must start as leaders by standing behind the basic tenets that we describe as foundational to the core of our leadership principles, and that is the basic tenet of transparency and accountability. So with that, I absolutely want to start by apologizing to the patient, her family, and the entire community that we serve for what occurred as a patient was leaving our organization Tuesday night here at the Midtown campus. I also want to be clear that we do not believe that what occurred Tuesday night in any way defines who we are as an organization. There has been a lot of conversation since this incident came to light. And that conversation has included conversation that suggests that perhaps what was witnessed on that video was a consequence of a decision this organization made to not provide care to a patient based on their ability to pay or their insurance status. And let me be clear, that is not what occurred. We believe firmly that we provided appropriate medical care to a patient who came to us in need. But where we absolutely failed, and where we own that failure, is in the demonstration of basic humanity and compassion as a patient was being discharged from our organization after having received that care. We take full responsibility for this failure, and we are examining our policies and our procedures to ensure that this type of event does not happen again. Again, we firmly believe that what occurred Tuesday night is not representative of who we are or how we care for our community. When you think about the Midtown campus, what was Maryland General Hospital, you're talking about an institution that has served the healthcare needs of the Baltimore community for 136 years. And when you think about that long arc of history, I would argue this is an institution that has time and time again demonstrated a firm commitment to the healthcare needs of our community. We have embraced this community throughout that arc of history. We have not turned our back on it. But despite all that, the breakdown that occurred Tuesday night, that breakdown of the demonstration of compassion, we have to own, and we do own. As a physician who has spent my entire professional career as part of the University of Maryland health system, I share the community's shock and anger at what occurred. And as leaders in this organization, we own that responsibility to ensure that as we investigate the breakdowns that occurred, that again, consistent with a fundamental tenet of our leadership approach, that we hold each other accountable for the actions that occurred Tuesday night. Again, I want to be clear that what was witnessed on that video was not a part of the patient's medical care that was delivered while they were within the institution. And yet, what we do as the University of Maryland is take on the care of some of the most complex medical conditions of patients from our community deal with, as well as some of the most complex social challenges that exist in our community. And part of the challenge that we face and the responsibility that we have is to take on those challenges of both the healthcare delivery, and the best that we can address the social needs of our patients as they come into our organization and as they leave. Again, as a physician, I believe that it ultimately comes down to a basic question, which is, why did we choose to go into healthcare? When you think about a patient's experience in an organization, I'm fully cognizant that that experience goes beyond just the interaction a patient may have with their physicians or their nurses. It involves from the moment they come in the door to the moment that they safely depart from our organization. And any part of that interaction obviously can reflect the quality of a patient's care. So we are, in fact, conducting an in-depth analysis of what occurred. We are trying to understand the points of failure that led to what was witnessed on that video. We are holding individuals who made decisions accountable for those decisions, and that is throughout our organization. I also want to make mention that as we as leaders came to know about this incident, one of the things I attempted to do yesterday, admittedly with some trepidation, is to reach out to the individual who actually videotaped, who filmed this video. And my purpose for reaching out to this young man was in fact to say thank you. Say thank you because as I watched the video, what I saw was an individual who was trying to do the right thing, who was trying to advocate for somebody that they saw in need, and was, again, trying to get to the right solution. I don't know this individual. I have not been able to connect with them yet. I have left a message for them. But the other half of the thank you is to thank them for doing something that has obviously brought you all here today, which is not just advocating for the patient, but then choosing to post this video and to highlight the failure of our organization. It is never easy to deal with failure, but I strongly believe that we can learn from this failure, and we can also ensure that this failure does not and will not define us as an organization. Again, I want to say this is a very difficult moment for us, right? But we are committed to and do accept responsibility for addressing the processes and the decisions that led to this incident. We will work very hard to earn back the trust of our community, and we believe that we will absolutely do so. I want to thank folks for their time coming out today.
Dr. Sumter will be able to take a few questions. Jeff, I know you had one.
Jeff Begaze with CBS News. Are you sure this is an isolated case? I mean, your statement there suggests that this is an isolated case. Are you sure about that?
So we absolutely are able to look at our patients, the process by which we discharge our patients once they've received their care. And we feel comfortable in the statement that that is what you saw on that video is not a process that would occur with any frequency at all. And we believe, when I use the word aberration, that it absolutely represents an aberration.
But it looked like from the video that the security guards, all four of them, had done it before. They didn't even look back at the man who shot that video. And a supervisor was there. At least he identified himself as a supervisor. So is this review going to look at more than just that case and the possibility that there are others?
Absolutely. So that's when I refer to looking at policies and procedures. For the discharge of patients once medical care has been rendered and the appropriate decision is made about a discharge, how we help address the complete needs of a patient, the social needs of a patient, are absolutely part of the process that we are looking at to ensure that, again, that this does not happen again.
Dr. Sumter, Chief Dan answer this, please, sir. Who thought it a good idea? What hospital employee thought it a good idea to release this woman in the street, dressed in only a gown and barefoot in the cold?
So I appreciate your question, Keith. We are going through the review process, interviewing employees, everyone involved in the care of this patient, to understand where it is that that decision point was made to allow that to occur. What I would tell you is at this point we're not able to answer, to present to people information that involves HR actions that would be taken.
Excuse me.
Reporter with CBS Baltimore. The man who shot that video actually said some of the security guards were laughing when they put her in that bus stop. Has any action been taken against them so far? I know you're conducting an investigation, but has any action been taken against them right now?
So I'm not able to, again, answer a question around human resource policies, but I can absolutely say that that process of evaluation and interview of all involved, as well as review of the video that was posted, is ongoing right now.
But do you
David
want people
Joy.
like that working in your hospitals?
So a foundational element of working in healthcare, I firmly believe, is the ability to demonstrate compassion and empathy. And part of the challenge in any urban-based healthcare environment can be the challenges of the complex healthcare circumstance and the complex social needs. But none of that, nothing that you will ever see or ever hear us describe, is an excuse for not being able to demonstrate basic compassion to fellow community members.
David Joy.
Thank you. We see the security guards on the video. What other types of employees are involved with this?
So-
Nurses, doctors?
So we are interviewing anybody who is involved with the care of this patient from the moment she arrived at our organization, to include the individuals you saw on the videotape. So that includes everybody from registration people to physicians to nurses to techs who may have been engaged at the patient during their stay in our emergency room.
How many people? Ballpark for how many people?
So at this point, I can't comment on how many people that involves.
Dr. Simpson, obviously ABC2 News, there's been a lot of talk about mental health, mental illness in regard to this woman who's on this viral video. What, if any, is the policy of the hospital for discharging mentally ill patients or homeless patients?
So we absolutely have policies and procedures that address how we care for patients who present to us with both medical healthcare issues that include behavioral health issues. In terms of how we address patients' social needs, the truth is we do that in partner, not as a single institution, but as best we can with partners throughout our community. And that includes partners from nonprofit organizations, city agencies, etc. But those policies include being able to the best of our ability, address those needs. So we absolutely do have those policies.
One more, excuse me, Keith, one more, excuse me, Meredith, Meredith, I want to give you an opportunity. Meredith, can you
Tell us about the patient herself.
So obviously, from a confidentiality standpoint, we want to respect the patient's privacy, and so we don't have a comment other than to state that we believe that when the patient was in our emergency room, the patient's health care needs were addressed appropriately.
Dr. Sumter, I know the investigation is still ongoing, but can you tell us, if any, what safety risk to the other patients or staff did she present?
So again, Keith, I think I want to be respectful of that patient's privacy and respectfully decline to answer that question.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.